Hello everyone, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank for Comic Book Case, where we're going to go over a lot of the books that I've been reading over the past month, mostly just titles that I haven't had time to make a solo video on, and since we're at the end of the month, I figured we'd just shoot them out now. So, our first book is The Mighty Thor, At the Gates of Valhalla. So, with Jane Foster having died, not died, and whatnot, I thought this would be the final way to close off the story. And honestly, it starts off in a rather clever way. It is the granddaughters of Thor having knocked out their grand allfather, Thor, and are using time diamonds to go back in time to find the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster Thor. The problem is they don't quite know how to do it, so they come up different times. They come up to a random village of Thor, or a random village attacked by trolls. They come up to a young Thor who's unable to lift the hammer. They come to a Thor as a frog. They come up to All-Father Thor fighting Loki. And when they finally come across Jane Foster, it's really sweet because these three have been inspired by Jane Foster as Thor, because of her battle with cancer, because of the odds she fought, and it's very much the outside perspective. This issue is designed to reflect the outside universe, the people that really loved Jane Foster as Thor, and that's great. That's really great. I really felt that Jane Foster should have died. I felt it would have been a bit of a disservice to keep her alive, just to sort of hammer home the point. Letting her die, I think, would have been the best thing for her, at least for the story. But it would seem a bit weird to have her, die from cancer after all this. Or maybe it would have been fine. I think it would have been fine, honestly. It's also appropriate that if this is the last story with Jane Foster, that it would be done by the three characters who found the book telling the story of Jane Foster, Thor. So there's that. And then afterwards, in this issue, there's a story about Malekith the Accursed. Now, Malekith the Accursed was our big baddie during the end of Thor God of Thunder. And he'd been launching this war against the Nine Realms, throwing in the chaos. And here we sort of, among other things, see how he does it. He has access to the Black Bifrost, which is effectively the bad guy's version of the Rainbow Bridge, of the Bifrost that, Heimdall patrols and whatnot. And he learned this from Loki, so that's interesting, seeing how Loki is sort of littered throughout all of this. We saw him a lot in Mighty Thor, and now we're seeing his role with Malekith the Accursed on a different level. So then we see Malekith going through different realms, the realm of the dwarves, the realm of the giants, the realm of fire, the realm of the dead, the realm of the old gods, and the realm of the light elves, the realm of the angels, the home of the gods, and he's sort of basking in his victory because he knows what's coming. He knows the end of it all is coming, and this is all designed to effectively remind you, hey, the War of the Realms is coming, and it will be continued next month's Thor #1, and next year's War of the Realms. So this story is going to continue for a good while. I think that's really all we have to know about it. So next up is Avengers #1, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So this story is 2 issues in. We're just going to talk about the first one because the second one doesn't really do anything that much. This is one of those, the story's just beginning, and we sort of have to see it pan out. So our story takes place 1 million years ago with the original Hodgepodge Avengers, I guess. We saw this in Marvel Legacy for the most part. It's Odin, the Phoenix Force, Iron Fist, Black Panther, Ghost Rider, Hulk, Sorcerer Supreme, all, the 1 million years ago thing. And they're getting ready to fight the Dark Celestials, and they don't really think they're going to make it out alive. But this is like that one final charge. And then we skip ahead to the present day, and it's just a nice night, a nice evening. It's Thor, or rather Odinson, Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, all just having a drink because, they've been having some rough times. Tony was in a coma. Thor slash Odinson still can't lift his hammer properly. He has a golden one, so he hasn't made a proper Mjolnir. And of course, Steve still has to deal with the fact that, Hydra Steve was a thing. It's still a big deal for him. And amongst other things, Steve wants to put the team back together. He wants to be an Avenger. He wants to, form the Avengers again. And Tony's like, I can think of a dozen people right now who'd be better suited for that than us. Who could work better, who has a better skill set, and everything. But Steve Ferguson, though, it has to be us. We're the ones that can bring the experience to it. We can totally reignite things. And Thor agrees. Thor effectively just wants to feel alive again. He wants to feel like he's part of something great. The War of the Nine Realms isn't allowed to resolve itself yet, because that's how Jason Aaron, who is also writing the Avengers book, wants this to happen. So, yeah. So Thor is sort of stuck in the middle here. Like, he won't probably get his hammer back until next year, like a new Mjolnir. And as Tony's about ready to end it, it's like, look, what do you think's going to happen? A magical moment where everything just needs a call to action, and his watch goes off, like, so they're going through. And meanwhile, in Wakanda, Black Panther has called Doctor Strange in to investigate some issues going on underground. And among the things is these paintings underground, one of which has the Eye of Agamotto, and Strange can sort of sense the magic coming from the old spells. And he sees all these tunnels going through. He says, okay, well, we have to investigate. So because Black Panther has vibranium, which is the ultimate suit, he can go further down. Doctor Strange has to magic his way down, which honestly made a lot more sense. Then we come to Robbie Reyes, who is looking at his car, trying to make sure that his brother Gabe doesn't get in. His brother is a paraplegic, and he doesn't know about Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider, so it's sort of like his own little top secret thing. He's trying to understand exactly what's happened in his car. And then we go to Manhattan, the Upper West Side, and my secret crush, one of my favorite girls at Marvel, Jennifer Walters, who's just, walking down, trying to not Hulk out. She's had some troubles with her Hulk transformations ever since Civil War II, which, among other things, in addition to being a bad story, apparently ruined her Hulk powers, because it's more like a return to basics. And then we cut to Alpha Flight Station, where, we see something going on, and Captain Marvel, who I'm hoping will be better than she's been in recent stories. I should probably read and review more Marvel books here, shouldn't I? Is also like, look, whatever's coming out there, I'm going to punch it, like super punch it really hard, because that's what I do. Alpha Flight's ready, and then they go, and then we cut to Doctor Strange and Black Panther, and they come across these green things, and they appear to be dormant, so for the most part we're fine, other than weirded out. And then the car is activated again. Something comes up from the ground and attacks Robbie Reyes, and he goes full Ghost Rider to fight him off. And then it turns out with Strange and Black Panther, whatever is in these things, even though there were no life signs, is hatching. And then a celestial crashes down in the city, and Captain Marvel was just barely able to make it so it landed in the harbor. There's one that crash landed in Egypt, one in London, one in what looks like San Francisco. Gods are crashing down on Earth, and they've apparently been hit by the Dark Celestials, who appear looking dark and ominous and horrible. And Tony gets his armor suited up, Thor puts his helmet on, Cap gets the helmet on, and we got one bold Avengers assemble before jumping into the fray. So, honestly, this was a really exciting way to start this off, I'm not gonna lie. This will probably be the Avengers book I decide to read. I'm always looking for a good Marvel book. Black Bolt was fun. Mighty Thor was hit and miss. Unworthy Thor was great. Infamous Iron Man was great. I enjoyed Patches of Miss Marvel, the first part of Doctor Strange. So this will be nice. So next up is Flash issue 47. This is the beginning of Flash War. So our story opens up to effectively Barry and Wally coming to an effective argument about what's going on. Like Barry's trying to tell Wally not to do something. So like it's going to be cause a lot of problems. Like you don't know what you're doing. And we've all sort of guessed that Wally's going to do effectively what Barry Allen did, which led to Flashpoint. But all Wally's saying is, look, either if you don't run with me, I'll make sure you never run again. And then we cut ahead to the present day where Iris is talking to her nephew Wally, or Wallace is what we'll call him while he's here with Wally, about exactly what he and Barry are doing. They've hit a bit of a falling out lately, sort of an argument, and they're sort of patching it up together. And so they just get back from a little fun run, and Wally still hasn't resolved his memories coming back. They've been coming back in, flashes and instances, causing him to pass out, have seizures. So no one quite knows what's going on with that. But before anything else can happen, they are met by the Rogues from the future. The 21st Century Flash Task Force, aka the Renegades, and they're here to arrest Iris West for the murder of Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. And for a while, it seems like, okay, Barry tries to talk to nothing, he got the wrong person, there's some sort of misunderstanding. Captain Cole's not having it, like, no, we know what we're here for, it's Iris West, we gotta go. And Wally, who's very close to Iris, Wally's been very close to pretty much everyone in his life ever since he came back from, the Speed Force. So his first response is to take Iris and run off, while Barry and Wally try to beat the Renegades to them. It sort of leads to us finding out that the Gold Guardian, or the Gold Glider, is a member of the Sinestro Corps in the future, and she uses the Sinestro Corps to create constructs out of their fears to hold them down. And Barry and Wally take this time to sort of argue again. That Barry's like, what do you think was going to happen? Why didn't you think this through? Wally's like, I'd have thought of something. You don't realize they're going to keep chasing him, right? Is that how you want Iris to live? And Wally's like, why do you keep trying to turn me into you? He's like, I'm not trying to turn you into me. I'm trying to make you better than me. And then Iris comes in and runs over Captain Cold and the motorbike she was fixing. And then Wally has a bunch of seizures, or as Commander Cold calls them, temporal seizures. And Commander Cold says, look, we can get him looked at. We've got people in the future who can deal with this. If you just come with us, Iris West, we'll take him with us. And Barry's like, well, hold on. If that's the case, you know what? I'll go too. We'll talk to the judge, and we'll get this all sorted out. It's all sorted out. That's fine. Wally is a bit apprehensive about this, putting Iris in direct danger. But Barry's like, look, I need you to trust me on this. We'll get this sorted out. And so on and so forth. Like, fine, let's go. And they all get teleported to the temporal courts of the 25th century. And everyone's excited, but they don't know where Wally is. And Wally ended up in what appears to be the abandoned part of the Wally West Flash Museum. And he's walking through, he's seeing these different speedsters, one of which is Impulse, Jesse Quick, some dude in blue who I don't entirely know. Then he sees a hollow image of him and Linda with a child, and the voice that's been guiding him is Hunter Zolomon. And he said, you can call me Zoom, and together we're going to save your children. And he's saying this in front of the displays of Jai and Iris West. And that's how the comic ends. And this was honestly really fun, I'm not going to lie. I'm never quite sure what I want to read from the Flash, but when I heard about Flash War, I said, I have to pick this up. I have to be on the quote-unquote right side of history before they time travel to the Speed Force again and ruin it. And the idea that this is Barry's chance to stop someone else from messing with the Speed Force for time travel, because he already got a fun little write-off when Wally told him, no, you didn't create the New 52, Dr. Manhattan did. As opposed to what we all thought was him going back in time to create the Flashpoint paradox. So this will be nice to sort of see this clash as one tries to keep the other from making the same mistakes. And the resentment between Barry and Wally really works here. So finally, the Terrifics issue number 4, Killer Squid from Outer Space. And I just love that. So our story opens up with the Terrifics, Mr. Terrific, Phantom Girl, Metamorpho, Plastic Man running from a giant squid, as the title tells us. So we rewind the clock back a bit, and this is Linnea riding in her new diary. So Mr. Terrific has found a way for her to be able to touch certain things, or at least make certain things for her to hold. And this has led to her writing a journal because Mr. Terrific is taking her home to at least visit her parents. So, she can figure out exactly what's going on. Maybe they can help, turn off her phasing ability so she can, be able to touch things. And she talks about how, Mr. Terrific is so smart, so kind, but he seems there's a certain sadness to him. She's trying to figure out what that is. And then she talks about how Metamorpho and Plastic Man go back and forth. And they're a really cool duo. I'm trying to wonder if they've ever done anything with them before together as teammates, but whatever. And so then as they're going through space and whatnot, they're then pulled by the tracking beam of another ship, and their ship, the T-Sphere, because that's what Mr. Terrific does. He puts his label on everything. And they're met by the giant squid, and Plastic Man turns into a squid, hoping to, distract the squid. And Metamorpho just starts hitting it. They all just start fighting it, and then they all fall through a hole, fall through the ship, and Linnea has to go through it after them. And Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho are separated from the group and his T-Spheres. And they're just sort of trying to figure, everything, where to go from here. Mr. Terrific's trying to find, the most logical place to go. Metamorpho's like, well, how about we just go through that door? My gut's telling me to go through the door. Terrific's like, I don't follow my gut. I follow logic and science. Metamorpho's like, dude, it's the only door here. Let's go through it. And Metamorpho sort of talks about, how a lot of people have been looking at him lately, trying to get it back to normal. Doc Magnus, Ray Palmer, the other eggheads. And he's like, look, I know you've got a lot of things going on trying to get rid of this, dark universe stuff off of us. But, if you've got time, Mr. is like, you know what, when we get out of here, we'll run some tests and see where we go from there. How about that? And that's fine. And then the door opens, and they're met by a bunch of other aliens, one of which is these sort of seahorse chickens that Tomar 2 and Tomar Re are from the Green Lantern universe. And they're like, you know what? And they're not playing. They all look like rejects from Firefly, though. I'm not going to lie. Mrs. Rivers like, it looks like your gut just landed into a big pile of Frankium. And then we cut to Linnea, who's still looking around for anybody. She comes across Plastic Man. And Plastic Man sort of, mimics, being able to touch her, like putting his hand on her shoulder. It's all designed to sort of make her feel better about the fact that, she can't really touch things. She doesn't have the sensation of touch or anything. And, in the middle of this, they see the T-Spheres going by, like, okay, they're the T-Spheres. We can follow that. They'll lead us to Mr. Terrific. And then they see Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho finding the guards. And they help them get away. This is pretty straightforward. But fun fact, on one of the holes, someone has spray painted no Green Lanterns here, which tells you all you need to know about this place. So in between finding the squid and the guards, or whoever these people are, they're able to get back on the T-Sphere ship, and they get away. And then they finally reach Bigstel. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. And she's all set to meet her parents, her family. And when she lands down into, the Phantom Farms or the Spectral City, or wherever it is, it seems like she's in Spectral City as where they're landing. And they're met by her mother. Or rather, an aged version of her mother. So it turns out why Mr. Terrific was so sad and distraught was because it turns out she had been gone much longer than she thought. She thought she was only gone for 10 years. It was actually 32 in our universe. And it turns out that not only has she aged, but Lydia's father died several years ago, and she feels so alone and distraught. But her mother's like, no. You don't ever have to feel alone. And they hug, and it's sweet, and it's really, really great. It hits you right here. And that's sort of how this comic ends. And honestly, I was very surprised by this. I never quite know what to expect with the Terrifics. We get the idea it's a little nod to the Fantastic Four, like certain things in this universe, in this dark universe are. So it is what it is, but this issue was very big on the character interaction. Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific and Linnea, through Linnea's perspective, Metamorpho and Plastic Man. It was all really sweet, really beautiful, and I can't help but wait to see more of this. So that's it for comic book case for this month. If there are any fun books you read that you'd like to talk about, leave that down in the comment section, and I will catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing out.